Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. Silver isn't just valuable because it's shiny. We don't stack it just because we're coin collectors. We don't even invest just to make a couple dollars. My goal in this video is to stress how serious and vital it is to protect your wealth against a collapsing dollar. You now have a choice because you know something most people don't. The average person doesn't even stand a chance and will fall victim to the inevitable outcome. This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to my channel. Now, when I say the US dollar is collapsing, I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not even throwing out a theory. This isn't some conspiracy. This is the cold, hard truth. I mean, elites are already preparing a new currency to replace the dollar. The dollar is based off of a fiat system, and the fiat-based system has never worked since the beginning of man. It's designed to fail. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? There's only one alternative. And I use the word alternative because there is no solution. We're already $27 trillion in debt, putting the dollar on its last leg, right? It's lost 98% of its purchasing power, 44% in the last 20 years. Things are going to get much worse, much quicker since we have this global pandemic throwing out trillions of dollars in stimulus packages. It could collapse the dollar entirely, and that's why elites are trying to find a new resolve, a new type of monetary exchange. What will it be? Who knows? This is not the article we're going to be covering in this video, though. I just wanted to plant the seed of where we're going to be taking this video. If you want to check out this article, I'm going to put a link in the description. It's a video covered from Junius Maltby, one of, if not my favorite silver stacking channel. I've been watching him since before I even started stacking. He knows a lot more than I do. Links in the description. You should subscribe to him as well. But this video is going to talk about the same topic, just going more into gold and how that plays into all this. Because this article is strictly from a monetary standpoint. This is precious metals. So both links will be in the description and Junius Maltby's video. So gold, widening wealth gap in America is the biggest bull trap in history. There's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of people are going to get, this is going to financially destroy them. I mean, not only just financially, think about, how many people are already out of jobs, already, scrapping to make ends meet. A couple $1,000 stimulus, it's not gonna go very far, especially with the direction we're headed. So the stimulus bill in Congress is being politicized while Main Street continues to suffer. The market hit a high of $1,973 and gold began to experience a series of positive news regarding vaccines and their efficiency. We have now seen a 50% retracement from that high. So things are going to be volatile. There's going to be a roller coaster ride of prices because people are unstable. So you can't expect stable prices. The stimulus bill in Congress is being, it's not passed yet. There's going to be a lot of speculation, and when people speculate, that's when the assumptions come in. That's when the panic selling, the impulse buying, that's when the emotional decision making or the irrational decision making comes in. So this is a pretty lengthy article. I'm going to try to highlight the main points that you need to know. I'm never going to tell you guys stuff you don't need to know. So the pandemic hit at a time when the economy already was weak and broken, and that's the terrible part. If you guys can remember, this goes all the way back to last year when the U.S.-China trade negotiation was going on, right? There was a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stock market volatility, but this pandemic, it was like all the stars aligned for everything to go downhill. So the pandemic hit at a time when the economy was already weak and broken. Egon von Greyers, in an interview with King World News, said we are approaching the end of an economic era in the world. And think about it, the USD is the world's reserve currency. Everyone across the globe relies on the strength of the dollar, but the dollar's about to collapse. So anything that can go wrong, he said, will. The pandemic appears to fit that analysis. The current economic system was laden with debt, which was almost impossible to maintain. And it's impossible to maintain, right? That number, if you go to usdebtclock.org, that number, that 27 trillion is never going to start, you're going to start lowering. It's always going to get worse. And this pandemic just sped up the process times 10. So This pandemic created an explosive situation in terms of the financial system. The system appears to be about to fall apart. Right, we are going to see increasing volatility in major businesses such as leisure, travel, airlines, and other areas. Many big businesses are going out of business, and thousands of small businesses are gone. Unemployment remains high, and many people are not going to get their old jobs back. A depression seems likely. And when you think about that word depression, when's the last time we've seen that? The 2008 credit crisis, recession/depression, $50 silver arrived. Von Greyers identified the immense wealth of disparities in the system. Billionaire wealth increased 70% in the last 3 years. At the top of the global wealth pyramid, we see the biggest wealth trap in history. Von Greyers counts 2,200 billionaires in the world, and in the past 3 years, their wealth has increased from 4.2 trillion to 10.2 trillion. Most of this wealth is in the U.S. denominated assets. So the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So where do you want to stand? You want to be on, the left side of the fence or the right side of the fence? We have a decision. Most people don't. Most people don't even know that this is all happening behind the scenes. Most people don't even know how serious or how broke or that we're even in debt. Most people think that America is the richest country, but we're not. The only reason we are, on technical terms, is because we own the most gold. So the current new lockdowns are halting an economic recovery that was just the beginning. The pandemic spike from Thanksgiving has not hit yet. And think about it. Canada, their Thanksgiving happened in October, and that's when, right afterwards, you saw Canada's numbers explode faster than any other that like we've seen, and that was because Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's all within like a two-month period. So can you fathom how it's going to be like Canada times 3, but Canada is a very small country compared to the United States. So it's going to be maximized from population, but also with two other major holidays. Christmas is when everyone is together. New Year's parties is when everyone is together. I mean, this is going to be terrible. And if anyone thinks in their right mind that 2021 is going to be a year of recovery, I'm sorry, but you're going to be sadly mistaken. A lot of people especially the ones that think that, are setting themselves up in a very dangerous situation, because that's when you become lackadaisical. That's when, especially as an investor, if you start, relying more on banks or government, or whatever the case is, you're setting yourself up even more, because you're more vulnerable, you're more exposed now to making or to going into things that are definitely not the things you want to be going into. So small restaurants and businesses are closing. Some businesses will not accept coins or currency, relying on only credit for health reasons. I mean, and this was even before the pandemic. We're going into a digital era, cashless nations, cardless ATMs, Bitcoin ATMs. It's all global bank or mobile banking. Everything's digital now. You're sending it digitally. And that's happened before the pandemic, but now even more. We appear to be moving out of a physical economy into a virtual economy, and that's what I've been saying. If a new currency was to occur, it's going to be something like Bitcoin. It's going to be something digital on a global scale. I mean, Bitcoin, it's a decentralized global coin. There is no Bitcoin in China. There's no Bitcoin in the United States. Bitcoin is Bitcoin everywhere, and it's instant transactions across the world with zero to little fees. So Bitcoin definitely has some advantages, but also a lot of disadvantages. So I don't know what coin there would be. I know they are working on a crypto. I think it's called like the USDX or something along those lines, or something along those lines. And they're trying to work on some type of monetary system off that. I always said if there would be a crypto, it'd probably be Ripple, because Ripple is owned by central banks. So billionaires are promoting the policy that we can move even further into a debt economy based on printing money for stimulus, right? When you print more money, it weakens the dollar. And when we're throwing out trillions, I mean, trillions is a lot bigger of a number than billions, right? And billions was in 2008, trillions in 2020 or 2021. Things are about to get crazy, a lot more crazy than people can even fathom. So they are made by the same elite who in the 1971 took the US dollar off the gold standard, started the current debt-laden system. And these are the same people who risk losing 90% of their wealth if the US dollar collapses in the next few years. So, I mean, what do you guys think about this, right? I mean, there's so much information, there's so many possibilities, but every scenario, gold and silver is going to come out on top. Gold and silver has been valuable for over 5,000 years, and that's not gonna just disappear anytime soon. Especially as we need silver more and more and more as we advance technologically and digitally. So I mean, things are gonna get interesting. Grayer sees us moving into a world economy that fuels global debt, which in turn fuels global wealth. Total global financial wealth is almost up 3 times from 80 trillion to 225 trillion from 1990 to 2020. So the key is that the wealth is in US dollar denominated assets. So, and this is an important part. Such factors do not bode well for the US dollar's long-term value and purchasing power. As we've seen the value of all assets valued in US dollars, we appear to be coming to an end of a current economic system, which is primarily creating an elite group of people who benefit from the work of 90% of the population. It's kind of, referring back to this. So, it appears we're looking at total debasement of fiat currency because the world debt is unsustainable. We're talking about total debasement. This is crazy. We're talking about GDP levels of 120, 130%. As currencies collapse, we will first see inflation and possibly hyperinflation, which will temporarily boost assets in nominal but not real terms. Then that will lead to the implosion of asset bubble in stocks, bonds, real estate. Gold and silver appear to be safe havens from such inflation and collapse, just as they have been for thousands of years, like I was kind of just saying. Gold and silver is your only real security blanket here. And that's why this video is titled Do or Die. Because if you put your hard-earned money into something that's collapsing, then you're going to get burned, right? Playing with fire, you're going to get burned. Switching to stocks, that's like switching seats from the Titanic because stocks are also pegged to the dollar. You cannot rely on anything except for gold and silver, something that has intrinsic value, not even crypto. Because if we're talking about this serious of a thing, what if it does get down to an SHTF situation and the power grid goes out? What are you going to do? You could have trillions of dollars in Bitcoin, but if the power goes out, you're broke. Gold and silver is the only thing that you can for sure protect your wealth with. If you cannot hold it, you don't own it. So there's a lot more to this. I mean, then they go into, I think it's the VCPMI, which is it's a artificial trading bot, right? It invests realistically because it's a robot, so there's no emotions, there's no human error, there's no human emotions. It looks at the literal levels and tells you when to buy and when to sell off of the numbers. So, and it's interesting because they incorporate that with, what's happening, so you can get a pretty good idea. Kind of like what I always talk about, if you can incorporate what's happening in the charts and intertwine that with what's happening in the economy, you can get a very good idea of where the price is headed or where the price is going. That's kind of what it does. So they talk about the retracements, the Fibonacci corrections, and where to buy in, and all that stuff. But right now I'm looking more from the not from the intermediate or the immediate, but more for the long term. What's down the road for us, because most of us aren't selling anytime soon anyways. And by that's a good question. When are you guys planning to sell? Are you guys planning to save this as retirement? Are you going to plan to sell 10 years down the line, 15 years, 20 years? Or are you planning to never sell, right? Pass it down to your kids or grandkids? What is your idea with that? I'm sure a lot of you actually are probably going to go with the flow, right? If it does seem like it's a good time to sell in 10 years, then you might go for it, pull the trigger. Or some people have a strictly 15, 20 years when they're ready to retire by a certain age. So but you do need to, this is off topic from this video, but if you are looking to sell, you always have to have a game plan, always have to have a strategy, what number you're not going to sell below, what price you're not going to pay above. You have to have that safety net. That's a whole different type of video though. So anyways, we can hit the summary and then wrap the video up. It appears that we have potentially completed the annual low of $1,600 or $767 unless this level is violated. It activated the upper ends of the target zone around $1,913, $2,045 for the rest of the month. It also activated the monthly sell one target of $2,164. Continue to maintain long positions above 1,840. Based on the VCPMI, we strongly suggest you add on any corrections at the $1,810, $1,840 level on a long-term basis. So Levels, the gold and silver for the long term is extremely bullish. The short term, there's going to be a roller coaster ride. Prices are going to be volatile. If you are looking to buy, make sure you buy the dips. There's a lot of stuff going on with the holidays. People are liquidating to buy Christmas presents. There's people traveling. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on right now. If you're looking to make any serious decision making, I'd probably wait till next year as things start to calm down from not calm down, financially or any of that, but as people, they start to calm down, because right now with this pandemic, there's so much going on. Nothing is certain, and one day things could be great with vaccine news. The next day things could be terrible, and it's extremely risky to invest in anything with with those circumstances. So, anyways, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. I post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.